ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਮੈਂ ਨਾਹੀ ਕਛ ਹੋ ਨਾਹੀ ਕਛ ਆਹਿ ਨ ਮੋਰਾ ਔਸਰ ਲੱਜਾ ਰਾਖ ਲਿਓ ਸਦਨਾ ਜਨ ਤੋਰਾ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਨਾਹੀ ਕਛ ਹੋ ਨਾਹੀ ਕਛ ਆਹਿ ਨ ਮੋਰਾ ਔਸਰ ਲੱਜਾ ਰਾਖ ਲਿਓ ਸਦਨਾ ਜਨ ਤੋਰਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ ਬਿਦਰ ਉਧਾਰਿਓ ਦਸਤ ਪਾਏ ਰੇ ਮਨ ਤੂ ਭੀ ਹਰ ਧਿਆਏ ਬਿਦਰ ਉਧਾਰਿਓ ਦਸਤ ਪਾਏ ਰੇ ਮਨ ਤੂ ਭੀ ਹਰ ਧਿਆਏ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। I hope everyone is in Chardhi Kala and taking care of themselves and their loved one around them as well. So, Mari di bahut kirpa. Today we are back with another Sakhi of a Bhagat from the Shabad by Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, where they speak about various Bhagats who have attained liberation, who have become one with Vaheguru through Bhakti, through Dhyan and through Sangat as well. So today we are going to be speaking about Bidar Ji, who was also a Bhagat of Krishan Bhagwan. And Sangat Ji, today's Sakhi is very beautiful, it's very heartwarming because it touches on that loving relationship we have with Vaheguru and how Guru Sahib only seeks the love of their Bhagats. So again, Bidar Ji has been mentioned by Bhai Gurdas Ji in the Avara as well. So we're going to seek help from Bhai Gurdas Ji to understand the Sakhi of Bidar Ji. And Bhai Gurdas Ji speaks about Bidar in Var number 10, Pauri number 7. And the Pauri goes like this. The title is Bidar or Duryodhan. So Bidar and Duryodhan as well. So Duryodhan, we are going to speak about who he is as well. So Bhai Gurdas Ji starts the Pauri. They say, Aya suniya Bidar de bole Duryodhan hoye rukha. So before we are going to go into this Pauri and the whole Sakhi, we have to speak a bit about the background of the whole scenario of how this Katha, this Sakhi even came about. So this happened in the time of Dwapar Yug, where Krishan Bhagwan was the avatar and that yuga. And this Sakhi, this story takes place in a place called Hastinapur. It is said that Hastinapur is what now Delhi is. So there are three brothers, Bidar, Pandav and Dhritarashtra. So again, I repeat, there might be a few names in the Sakya, but it is necessary for us to know the background to be able to understand the Sakhi of Bidarji and Kishan Bhagwan. So there are three brothers, Dhritarashtra, Pandav and Bidar. Now these three brothers, they have the same father, but each one of them have a different mother. So Dhritarashtra and Pandav were born from a princess. Between their mother was a princess and their father were Vyasji. But Bidar, his father was Vyas as well, just like the other two princes, but his mother was a maid servant, was a dasi in the palace. So Bidar was also called Dasi Putar, means the son of a maid servant. And when Dhritarashtra or when Pandav was the king of Hastinapur, they really respected Bidarji as their brother. They would seek advice in terms of political matters, economic matters as well, and state issues. So they would give that same respect they give to Bidarji as they would have given to another king or another prince. But now the Sakhi starts when Duryodhan comes into this scenario. Duryodhan is the son of Dhritarashtra, who then becomes the king of Hastinapur when Dhritarashtra then leaves. Then stops becoming, or he decided not to be the king of Hastinapur and he gave the kingdom, and Duryodhan becomes the king of Hastinapur. So Duryodhan, unlike his father, Duryodhan was a very egoistic person. He was very proud and he was not compassionate towards his people, towards his other brothers as well. And so Bidarji is the chacha of Duryodhan, right? Because Duryodhan was the son of Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra and Bidarji were brothers. So because Bidarji was a dasi putar, means his mother was a maid servant, Duryodhan did not respect his chachaji that much. He did not even seek advice from his chachaji when it comes to political matters. And in fact, he did not even speak to his chachaji. He did not even allow his chachaji Bidarji to even be involved in state matters as well. Because of this disrespect towards Bidarji, Bidar decided to leave the palace and to live outside in the villages in Hastinapur. So he goes with his wife and he builds a small hut where he and his wife stays outside of the palace, but still in Hastinapur. So that went on for a while. And what was the daily routine of Bidarji and his wife was they would do their own kirta kamai during the day, and during the night they would do bhajan bandagi, they would do dhyan, they would do simran of Kishan Bhagwan. So they were Bhagats of Kishan Bhagwan, and day and night they would be yearning to have darshan of Kishan Bhagwan, to meet Kishan Bhagwan and to be able to speak to them. So one day the time comes now, if we go forward, the time comes where now Duryodhan is seeking revenge or is going against his cousin brothers, the Pandav. So Mahabharat happens after that, where the war between Duryodhan, which are called the Kaurav, Duryodhan and his brothers are known as the Kauravs, and the Pandavas as well. So this war is about to happen because the Pandav, his cousin brothers, Duryodhan's cousin brothers, are asking for some place for them to stay in Hastinapur. But as I mentioned, Duryodhan was a very egoistic person and he was not compassionate even to his own family. He did not even want to give a little space to the Pandav, to his cousin brothers, to stay in Hastinapur. And so now the conflict started between the Kaurav, Duryodhan, one side, and the Pandav on the other side, on who is supposed to sit on the throne of Hastinapur. To solve this conflict, they invited Kishan Bhagwan to Hastinapur. So Kishan Bhagwan, who was the king of Vrindavan, who was the king of Gokul, who was the king of Dwarka, now they were invited to Hastinapur to solve this conflict between Duryodhan and his brothers, which were called the Kaurav and the Pandav. So when Kishan Bhagwan came to Hastinapur, came to the palace, the way Duryodhan even respected Kishan Bhagwan, it was very fake, it was very superficial. Duryodhan did not have that respect, did not have the Shraddha towards Kishan Bhagwan like other people had, like the Pandav. The Pandav, they had so much respect, they had so much pyar towards Kishan Bhagwan. They believed that Kishan Bhagwan would help them to solve this conflict with their cousin brother. When Kishan Bhagwan came to the palace as well, Duryodhan, he did show respect, but it was very fake. You know, sometimes we are able to identify when someone respects us in a superficial manner or even speaks to us in a superficial manner. We know that this person is not genuine. Kishan Bhagwan, he know what was going on in the minds of Duryodhan, that Duryodhan had this ill intention to destroy his cousin brothers, to destroy the Pandav, and to have this war. And Kishan Bhagwan was not happy with this. And Duryodhan, being the host for Kishan Bhagwan, he did not even ask Kishan Bhagwan or beg Kishan Bhagwan to stay in the palace in Hastinapur with them for the night. He assumed that Kishan Bhagwan would just stay in the palace because there's no other place as beautiful as the palace, and there's no better food in the palace there's no better food that one could get outside of the palace as well. So assuming that Kishan Bhagwan would just stay in the palace, Duryodhan did not even ask or beg Kishan Bhagwan to stay with them in the palace. He just walked off. Kishan Bhagwan was not happy with this because Bhagwan, or we can say Vaiguruji, would not reside in that place where there's no bhakti, where there's no pyar for Bhagwan, where there's no pyar for Vaiguruji as well. So Kishan Bhagwan, they knew that in Hastinapur there was another Bhagat of theirs named Bidar who was longing to have their darshan. And so Kishan Bhagwan had that thought in their mind that they would go and stay in Bidarji's house outside of the palace. Even Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they speak about this, about spending time or staying with those who are of low caste, who are so meek, who have no power. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji कहते ने नीचा अंदर नीच जात नीची हूँ अत नीच नानक तिनके संग साथ वड्डियां स्यो क्या रीस. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that I would rather seek the sangat of the neech jat, of those who are low caste, of those who are poor, who are meek. Nanak tinke sangasat, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, doing their sangat, vadya syo carries. How can I compare this sangat of these poor people, these low caste people, to those who apne aap nu vadde kahande ne, who call themselves big, who call themselves kings, who calls themselves big, and they're so proud of their status. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji themselves would rather seek the sangat of those who are poor, just like my Laloji. So the same Sakhi in Ahmedabad, Sangaji, in Ahmedabad, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they would rather stay in the house of Pai Laloji rather than going to the house of Malak Pago, who was so rich. They would rather stay with Pai Laloji, who was so poor and who could not even afford to give something to Guru Nanak Dev Ji to eat. So Kishan Bhagwan, in the same manner, they went to Bidarji's house and they stood in front of Bidarji's house, their hut, and they walked in, they called out to Bidarji. And imagine Sangaji, when Bidarji and their wife, they saw who was standing at their door, they were in awe, they were wonderstruck. They could not believe seeing Kishan Bhagwan standing in front of their hut, waiting to come into the house. And so they just stood there, being in awe and just surprised that after all this time of doing Ardasa, that I would like to have the darshan of Kishan Bhagwan. Now, today, in this moment, they are in front of me. So Bidarji and their wife, they invited Kishan Bhagwan into their house, into their hut, and they had no way for Kishan Bhagwan to even sit. All they had was a small flat bed that was on the ground. Tarti de upar choti ji, there was just a thin bed on the ground, and Bidarji asked Kishan Bhagwan to sit on that bed. They clear up the space and make sure it was neat and tidy so Kishan Bhagwan could sit on that. And the Sakhi goes that Bidarji's wife, they were so wonderstruck, they kept looking at Kishan Bhagwan. You know, imagine Sangaji, if we were in the times of our Guru, and imagine if Guru Gobind Singh Ji were to knock on our door and and come into our house and say that I would like to stay with you, I would like to eat your food, we would be in awe, we would be struck by wonder, by surprise that Guru Sahib is in our house. So the same happened to Bidarji's wife. She kept looking at Kishan Bhagwan and they wanted to offer Kishan Bhagwan food. So she was peeling a banana, but instead of giving Kishan Bhagwan the banana, she was giving him the peel to eat, and she threw the banana away. So Kishan Bhagwan, looking at this, he just kept laughing and he did not say anything. So he just kept eating the banana peel because it was given so much love. And Bidarji, they themselves were looking at Kishan Bhagwan. So for some time, both of them did not realize that all they were giving to Kishan Bhagwan was that banana peel and not the banana itself to eat. And Kishan Bhagwan would eat it happily and they would enjoy it. And when Bidarji came, they became conscious. They looked at their wife and they would say like, "Hey Puliye, oh forgotten one, have you lost your mind? You're giving Kishan Bhagwan to eat the peel and not the banana." And so she was so ashamed and they asked for forgiveness, and Kishan Bhagwan would just laugh it off and bless them. And then evening came and they were going to serve dinner to Kishan Bhagwan, and they made saag. And again, Bidar's wife was so in surprise, she was so in awe that Kishan Bhagwan is in my house. She could not believe it. So while cooking dinner, she forgot to put loon, she forgot to put salt into the saag. And Uddai served kata, they just served the saag to Kishan Bhagwan and without any salt in it. And Kishan Bhagwan ate that saag just as if it was Shakti Prakar Bhojan, just as if it was the best food that he had eaten before. And so Kishan Bhagwan, he ate that food in so much bliss. He enjoyed that saag so much that he kept blessing Bidarji and his wife. And so after Kishan Bhagwan had dinner, Bidarji and their wife ate the same saag, and when they tasted it, they realized that there was no loon, there was no salt in that saag. And again, they kept asking for forgiveness from Kishan Bhagwan. But Kishan Bhagwan, they said that you have nothing to ask forgiveness for. All that you were doing was prem bhakti. You have so much love for me that all I could taste in that food was love. And it tasted like kheer, it tasted like amrit to me. And so the whole night, Sangaji, they spent doing Sangat, they spent talking about Paramatma, they did Kirtan, and they did each other's Sangat. They didn't sleep because after so long, Bidarji and his wife had darshan of Kishan Bhagwan. And so the next day, Kishan Bhagwan goes back to the palace in Hastinapur and meets Duryodhan. So now, Bhai Gurdas ji, they start their pauri when Duryodhan meets Kishan Bhagwan, and he finds out that Kishan Bhagwan did not spend the night in the palace but actually stayed with Bidar and his wife. So Bhai Gurdas ji now says, "Aya suniya Bidar de, bole Duryodhan hoi rukha." So Aya suniya Bidar de, when Duryodhan heard, Suniya, when he heard that Kishan Bhagwan came from Bidarji's house and stayed the night with Bidar, bole Duryodhan hoye rukha. Duryodhan then spoke, but he spoke in anger. He was really angry. He said, "Kar asade chhad ke, gole de kar jaye ke sukha." So Duryodhan then asked, "Kar asade chhad ke, you left my house, you left this palace. Gole de kar jaye ke sukha, and you went to the kar of a gola. Gola here means servant. You went to the house of a servant. Jaye ke sukha means you went to his house, and what sukha did you get? What peace did you get? The peace, the sukha that a palace would have provided you, did you get the same sukha in Bidar's house?" This was the question Duryodhan asked Kishan Bhagwan. Then he went on saying, "Pishana Drona Karana Taja." So Pisham Drona Karana Taja Sabha Singar Pale Manukha. So Pisham and Drona Karan are ministers of Duryodhan. Taja here means to leave. So Duryodhan then continues saying that you left Even if you did not want to stay in the palace, you could have stayed in the house of Bhisham, you could have stayed in the house of Dronakaran, but even you left them as well. Sabha Singar means they are the ministers, they are my ministers, their house are beautiful as well. But even then, you did not think about staying in their house, but you went to Bidar's house, the hut of a servant. And then Bhai Gurdas Ji continues in their war and they say, Chuggi jai vilayona sabna de ji andar tukha. Chuggi here means hut. Jai vilayon. Vilayon means here means to go missing. So when I found out that you went to the Chuggi, you went to the hut of Bidar Ji and you went missing, we couldn't find you. Sabna de ji andar tukha. Sabna de ji andar, in the hearts of everyone, tukha means we became worried when we couldn't find you in the palace. And when we heard that you were in the Chuggi, you were in the hut of Bidarji, I felt cheated. I felt angry that you left my palace and you stay in the house of Bidar, the son of a maidservant, Dasi Putter. Then now Kishan Bhagwan is replying to Duryodhan. They say, Has bole Bhagwan ji, sunho raja ho sanmukha. So Has bole Bhagwan ji, so Kishan Bhagwan, then they spoke, they laughed and they spoke. Sunho raja ho sanmukha. So now they say, O Raja, O Duryodhan, listen to me carefully. Tere pao na disai, mere nahi apada dukha. Tere pao na disai. So now Kishan Bhagwan ji says, Tere, in you I could not see pao. Pao here means love. I could not see any form of loving devotion in you. Mere nahi apada dukha. And there is no dukh in me for me having left your palace. Is not a big thing, it's not a problem for me. I would rather go to that place, even though it's poor, even though it's dirty, I would rather go to that place that has love for me. But sadly, you do not have that love for me, just like how Bidarji had. Then Bhai Gurdas Ji continues and they say, Pao jiveha Bidar de, hori de chitta chao na chukha. So Kishan Bhagwan Ji then tells Duryodhan, Pao jiveha Bidar de. Just like the amount of love Bidarji has for me in their heart, hori de chitta chao na chukha. I have not seen this much love in anyone else's mind, in anyone else's heart. The amount of love Bidarji has for me, no one else has that amount of love. And Bhai Gurdas Ji ends this pauri beautifully. They say, Gobind pao Bhagat da pukha. Kishan Bhagwan Ji then says to Duryodhan that what is one thing that Paramatma, that Vaheguruji is hungry for, what is one thing that Vaheguruji really wants is pao Bhagat da pukha. They are only hungry for loving devotion of their Sikhs, for loving devotion of their Bhagats, nothing else. Vaheguruji does not need our wealth, does not need our possession, nothing, but all they need is love from us as well. Just like how Bhai Lalo Ji had for Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Because Guru Nanak Dev Ji saw that prema bhakti, that loving devotion in Bhai Lalo Ji's heart, they would rather stay with Bhai Lalo Ji and eat kodre di roti for weeks rather than going to Malik Bhago's house, who was rich but had no pyar in him. All he had was pride and ego. And then just like Guru Angad Dev Ji, Sangat Ji, if we want to learn about how to love someone, how to love our Guru, I would really suggest reading the life story of Guru Angad Dev Ji, because for me, the love story between Guru Angad Dev Ji and Guru Nanak Dev Ji tops everything. Guru Angad Dev Ji, when Guru Nanak Dev Ji left this world, they wrote a slok in Guru Granth Sahib Ji and they say, Jis pyare syo neho, tis aage mar chaliye, trig jeevan sansar, taake pache jeevana. Jis pyare syo neho, neho here means love as well. Jis pyare syo neho, to whom we have that love, we have that pyar, tis aage mar chaliye. We should be willing to sacrifice ourselves, we should be willing to give ourselves up in front of that person that we really love. Trig jeevan sansar, taake pache jeevana. And to live after my lover has left this world is trig, is wasteful, is just like poison, living in the sansar after my lover, after my my beloved has left this world. That was a situation, that was a condition Guru Angad Dev Ji was in when Guru Nanak Dev Ji left this world. They could not take it because they were in love with Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So if there's so many Sakya Sangaji and our Sikh Itihas that speaks about how we can love our Guru. In fact, when we speak about Prema Bhakti, now there are 9 types of Bhakti that in Sikhi we know, and I would share with you here as well. The 9 types of Bhakti is Sarvan, listening to the jasa, listening to the praises of our beloved, our Guru. Simran, to do Simran, to remember constantly, remember our Guru constantly. Then we have Kirtan, to sing the praises of our Guru, of our beloved. Then we have Padasev. Padasev here means to constantly be with our Guru and to do seva in their charanan. Pad here means their feet, to keep on doing seva in their feet, just like how Guru Angad Dev Ji did seva of Guru Nanak Dev Ji constantly. And then we have Archan. Archan here means to give something, to give, for example, when we give flower to our Guru, when we, petakar, perfume, or when we do puja of our Guru, that is another part of bhakti as well. And then we have Das Pav. Das Pav here means when we become a servant to our Guru, we become a dasi to our Guru as well. So even Guru Arjan Dev Ji, when they say how they describe Bidar Ji, is Bidar Udaryo Das Tapai. Das Tapai here means Das Pav. So we become a servant to our Guru and we follow, we obey their hukam, we obey their bachan. So Bidar Ji, they did their bhakti as Das Pav. They became the servant of Kishan Bhagwan. Then we have Sakpan. Sakpan here means that friendship we have with our Guru. So for example, Sutresha, they are a Gursikh, they are a Brahmgyani, but if we read the Sakhi, if we read the life story of Sutresha, they were like a friend to Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji. They were like a friend to Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji. The way they spoke to their Guru, it was with so much pyar, but they have that loving friendship relationship with the Guru. Then number 8, we have Bandana. Bandana is when we do a namaskar to our Guru, we do dandot to our Guru. And then the last one is we have Sarva Nivedan. Sarva Nivedan means we give ourselves completely to our Guru at their disposal. They can do whatever they want with me. They can do whatever they want with us if we give ourselves up completely to the Guru. So Baba Nand Singh Ji, they mention about these 9 types of bhakti, but they say one thing really beautiful. They say that all this bhakti cannot be done if we do not have prem for our Guru. So in order for us to even start doing bhakti, we need to have that love for our Guru. Feri se kuch karange, just like a mom, a mother has love for that child, only then the mother would think about feeding the child, only then the mother would think about the safety of the child. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, they say in their Bani as well, they say, Jin prem kiyo tin hi par payo. Those who have love, those who have pyar in them, only then we will start doing bhakti, only then we have that thirst, we have that itcha, we have the desire to meet our Guru, to be one with our Guru as well. Then we will start doing bhakti. So Bidar Ji and their wife, they had that prema bhakti and then they had that love for Kishan Bhagwan. So day and night, they became like a das, they became servants of Kishan Bhagwan and they would do Simran. They did this bhakti, they did Simran of Kishan Bhagwan, they did Kirtan, they sang the Hari Jas, they sang the praises of Kishan Bhagwan. And because of that bhakti, that love, Kishan Bhagwan, they themselves were pulled to come to Bidar Ji's house. So Sangaji, imagine if we want to pull Vaheguru Ji to us as well, that string has to be made of love. Nothing else. It can't be made of pride. It can't be made of strength, but it has to be made of love. Only then Vaheguru Ji will be pulled to us as well. So it's really beautiful to see and to hear the Sakhi of Bidar Ji and Kishan Bhagwan, and what we can gain from it as well is how we too can have that love for Sadguru Ji, just like how they had for Kishan Bhagwan, and just like how Guru Angad Dev Ji had for Guru Nanak Dev Ji, just like how Pai Lalu Ji had for Guru Nanak Dev Ji as well. So in Gurbani, Sangaji, Bidar Ji has been mentioned various times in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, about 5 times, and even same amount of times in Bhai Gurdas Diawara as well. So Bhagat Kabir Ji speaks about the same incident in Rag Maru, and they say, Rajan kaun tumhare aave. So now they're saying, Kishan Bhagwan Ji speaks to Rajan that I've seen in Bidar, oho garib mohe paave. That garib, that poor man, is what pleases me. You see your elephants, you see your palace, you see all that rich, the possessions you have, param pepula, and you are lost. You are lost, even given you all this wealth. Tumro doodh bidar ko pano amrit kar mein manya. So now Kabir Ji says, I drink from the house of Bidar. Amrit kar mein manya is just like amrit. That pani from Bidar's house that I drink is like amrit to me, and it tastes gun gavat ran bihani. Kheer saman saag mein paya. So remember that Bidar Ji's wife gave saag as dinner to Kishan Bhagwan, but it was without. It was like amrit. It tastes so delicious. Gun gavat ran bihani, and we spent the whole night doing gun gavat. We spent the whole night singing praises of Paramatma and doing kirtan of Paramatma. Kabir ko Thakur Anand Binodi, blissful, they're full of bliss, and they do all these interesting plays to show us what love is really all about. Jatna kahu ki mani, and Vaiguji does not care about. So even Guru Ramdas Ji has mentioned about Bidar Ji as well, and we want to find out what other mentions of Bidar Ji are in Gurbani. It's easy. You go in iGurbani app, and in the search button, you just type Bidar, and then you can see all the panktiyan which has the mention of Bidar Ji and Gurbani, and what does Maharaj say about them. But in gist, all that Bidar Ji really represents is that love they had for Kishan Bhagwan, and Guru Sahib is trying to tell us as well that when you listen to the Sakhi, have that same love for Paramatma, for your Guru as well, just like how they had as well. So it's an inspiration for us. So hence Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, they say, Bidar udaryo dastapai, that Bidar udaryo, he was saved, he was liberated because he had that das pav in him. Re man tu pi hartya, re man, oh my mind. So now we are telling ourselves, tu pi, you as well, hartya, you also remember Vaheguruji, just like how these other Bhagats have done as well. So that was the Sakhi of Bidar, the loving devotee of Kishan Bhagwan. I hope that this is an inspiring story to all of you. It has been really inspiring for me as well to read the Sakhi and to even find out about that loving relationship between Bidar and Kishan Bhagwan. So please forgive me for any mistakes I've made. Hope to see you and do your Sangat again tomorrow. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.